Hello everybody, welcome along to the channel this wonderfully sunny afternoon. I've got the sunshine lay low in the sky, looking through with a big reflection off the roof of my car, which is right outside here. Hence you can see that. Hopefully it's not too blinding on the camera. It looks okay to me. But on the bench today we have got a Sony radio, and it's a 3-band radio, FM, medium wave and long wave, and it's a model IC something or other. Where are we? It's an ICF-790L, and before I took this on I had a look and I found a manual for it, and the 790 isn't much of a manual, but the 780 is what it's based on. So we're going to be looking at the manual for the ICF 780. That's got the same circuit as this. It's a very simple radio in terms of technology. It's a one chip radio. It's a one chip. It's a CXA. Let me just call it up so I can quote you exactly what the chip is, because I looked this all up before I had a go, and it's a CXA 1019, which contains both the AM FM front end and audio power output, such as power output is for a small radio like this. Everything's all in one chip. So the fact that this has got a fault on it, it could well be just the chip. We may not be able to diagnose anything else better than that, but let's have a look at it anyway. I did briefly put some batteries in earlier on, but I'll put some more in and show you what's actually happening. Because basically not a lot is happening. Put the batteries in, we switch it on, and nothing. No sound whatsoever. Volume up. No crackling. Just seems to be completely dead. What will we find? We'll have to work out, and we'll take it apart and have a look inside. So let's just take the batteries out. And again, brief look at the service manual in advance. The whole lot comes out from 6 screws, so I'm going to whiz through this because it takes a little while, because I can't use the electric driver. The screws are a bit too deep in there. All I've got to do is find my screwdriver. Where's it gone? Oh, there it is. Get my magnet. Just get the screws out. Come on. This one hasn't quite unthreaded. Come on. Oh, it's stuck in there for some reason. Anyway, let's pull it. It will come out now. That's for sure. Okay. So let's switch over to this camera and see what it looks like on the inside. So there we have the main circuit diagram. There's the IC, this CXA. Pretty much the only other bits and pieces, peripheral components, and a power supply there for running off the mains. So you can't really get a lot more simple than that. And I'm pretty sure that the whole mechanism itself comes off once we've removed the knobs off of it. So they're just push fit, thankfully. And then we've got the FM antenna. Let's just desolder that off of there. Thankfully to Sony, everything's labelled, and there we have the main bit. Oh, hang on, that's the speaker. So I think we'll unsolder the speaker connections as well. One connection there. One connection there. We can always clip that back on later, and that should then give us hopefully access to the circuit board. Let's push those bits out of the way, and there's the main circuit board. Right, so not a lot here. Nothing here at all. Everything's all under here. Now looking, as I said, I did look at the service manual, and it showed that all this plastic pieces all comes apart. There's a little plastic clip there and there. Let's try those. See what they really. I think that's this display board. Oh, careful, 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 careful. Right, so that comes off, and then we've got a fairly standard tuner capacitor block, driven by a gear and a tuning scale on that gear, and it seems to go from just one side to the other, so there doesn't seem to be any alignment marks or anything on the wheel. So I think we can safely just take that off of there and put it back so that it goes either side of the scale when we put it back. Do we need to take this off? I think to get this whole board separate from the plastic, I think we need to take this off because it's going to be a bit awkward. Yeah, because that's underneath this. So let's undo this capacitor screw. I'm pretty sure it'll have like a key on the underside. Yeah, there we have. Got like a square cap that goes over the top of that tuning capacitor. So let's put that over there and the screw with the screws. And then the only other thing is the LED. Right. So we could take the LED off of this panel. And that should hopefully come away. I think it's just because it's been pushed over the hole where the screw goes, it's sort of wedged itself in there. Let's just gently, it's only a little circuit board with an LED on it, there's nothing much in that. So that then releases this circuit board. So there's the battery terminals where we can apply power. So that goes on. Oh, hang on, that just pushes up against some wire contacts on there, and the spring for the negative side is under that screw. So I reckon if we undid that screw, yeah, there's the other one with the arrow on. If we undid those two, looks like we should be able to take all of that plastic off there and give us full access to the circuit board. Let's try that, shall we? That came undone very well. We've got a clip there, and any more clips? Let's take that. Tell you what, that spring, yeah, that spring comes out of there. Is there another clip somewhere? That clip. No, is it the ferrite aerial? That's all gonna? Yeah, there's a clip on there, so that all comes off. Ah, look at that. Serviceability. Well done, Sony. Though I don't really ever expect them to have anybody repair one of these. Right, so on the main circuit board we can see we've got the main chip, and this is a CXA, as we said, 1019S. Now I did actually, and I looked at the service manual, saw that chip, and I got a data sheet for it, and there's actually two versions of the CXA on the data sheet. There's a 1019M/P and the 19S, which is this one. 19P, what's that one got in it? Looks exactly the same internally from the block diagram. Yep. So that might come in handy, but certainly on the service manual, when we look at the service manual, there we are, I've got the circuit diagram up. The good thing about this is we've got voltage readings on all the pins of the chip, so wherever the fault is, hopefully we can diagnose it through volts on the chip. Let's just zoom into that a little bit. So we've got a ground on pins 1 and 2, 29 and 30, and we've then got the plus B line which goes in on pin 9. Where does that come from? Can't see where that comes from. Is that B plus line there? 1.3 volts, seems a bit low. Where's the other side the battery goes? So the battery comes out here, goes through there, through that coil. B plus, pin 27 is 6 volts. So that's our main supply to the chip. So I don't know what this B plus is here. Perhaps that's a B plus coming out of the chip, going off to the AM and FM front end up there. Yeah. So we need to get some power onto this and check the volts on to pin 27 of the chip. So looking at the chip, okay, so not so easy to see on the actual camera, but we've got pin 1 is here. It's actually labelled on the board. Well, pin 1 isn't, but IC1 is there. But pin 30 is there, which is the other opposite corner. So we know that that's pin 1, and we need to look for volts on to pin 27, the B plus, which is 29, 30, 29, 28, 26, 27. So I'm just going to put a little mark on the chip there so I recognise it. So let's get the old meter on the screen. So I'm wondering whether it's going to actually be easier to work on. Yeah, it's probably going to be easier to look at it on this side of the circuit board rather than on the other side. We can see all the pin numbers. So pin 1 on here is there, pin 30 is there, so we should be able to go count to 27 from there. We're going to run it on batteries so we don't put mains into here and give ourselves a nasty little turn. But we need to have supply on there, so let's get my power supply. And with crocodile clips, negative on that one, should be a good connection, positive on that one, those two. Okay, and the other thing we'll need, of course, is a speaker. Now I've got, fiddling around with the speaker and all the cabinet hanging there. I've got a test speaker here. Where is it? So there's my test speaker. So let's pop that on. It's got a nice long lead, so if we have to move the board about. I'm wondering if I'll just pull that on-off switch off as well, just in case I leave a. Must remember to switch it on and off. Okay, so having got that all connected, let's turn the power up, see what happens. Yep, as before, nothing there. So let's get our test meter connected. And we've got quite a bit of earthing around here, so I think I can probably get my test meter to just clip in on there. Let's check we're getting 9 volts from the power supply. Make sure we're on volts. Sorry, 6 volts. So there we are, 6 volts. Not bad from my power supply. And that 6 volts should go in, as we said, to the plus B, which is pin 27. So 30, 29, 28, 27. And yep, we've got 6 volts there as well. And as we said, we saw the other plus B volts was up here. Comes from pin 9, which it says it's labelled as reg, and it should have 1.3 volts on it. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 7's already marked. 8, 9. So there's pin 9. 0 volts. Okay. So suspect it could well be that the chip has died. Let's turn the power off. Let's have a little look, see what else we've got on the circuit board. Now I spy C7, a 10 microfarad 50 volt capacitor, electrolytic capacitor. That should be, let's take that under there. Yep, there's C7. Yeah, I can see it right there. Doesn't look like it's died or anything like that. Looks to be perfectly okay to me. But let's see if there's a short to ground on that pin. So pin 9, let's go 7, 8, 9. And lo and behold, we have a dead short on pin 9. That's pin 30, which was ground. So that reads the same. Go back there. So I'm wondering whether that capacitor, could that capacitor be the fault? Let's disconnect the power supply a minute. Another look at that capacitor. Looks okay. Doesn't look like it's lost its cap. All the other capacitors that could blow have got a cross in them. So let's take it out and have a look. Soldering iron's already still on. Let's clean the old tip. This would be a nice quick little repair. If there is it, that one, that's the ground pin. There's pin 9 on the side of the capacitor. All the capacitor and wiggle it. One leg is free. Okay, so there's the capacitor out. Here it is. Get my test meter. Clip it on one side. Connect to the other one. Hey! Well, it didn't read very well. Well, oh, it's open. So that changed its value. Let's go back onto this connection. Out of the way of that. Let's go on to pin 9. Well, it's no longer short to ground. I suspect that capacitor is probably dying in its death throes. So let's put that there for a minute and we'll get one out of the drawer. 10 microfarad, 50 volts. Well, there's 40 volt capacitor. I haven't got a 50 volt one. I can't see that 10 volts is going to make a lot of difference. This is one that's from a little kit of components. Another remains of a kit of components. So let's see, 7. Right, so a little design on there is like a little dot. If you can see there, a little dot next to the negative leg of capacitors. So that means that this capacitor here, the negative one is there. Oh, let's just clean those legs up, they look a bit dull, don't they? Just bend the legs ever slightly so it doesn't fall back out. Just going to do this one again because it wobbled a bit as I soldered it. Right. Let us apply power once again. Just goes to show, if you've got a circuit diagram and tools to check and logic, especially the circuit diagram showing that secondary plus B off pin 9, that gave us a clue straight away. So power on. Hey! It's working! Yeah. That's FM. Long wave. Yeah. I think that's working. I think we've fixed it. Yes. So it seems like we got a dead short capacitor across the output of the regulator from the inside of this chip. That's C7 10 microfarad short circuit, possibly breaking down under stress, because when I took it out it didn't read short circuit again. So fingers crossed, replacement has fixed it. All we've got to do now is put it back together and make sure it all aligns correctly. Yeah. Oh, I'm pleased with that repair. That's good. It's a bit bigger than the other one. Hope that's not going to impede in the way that this plastic goes back on there. I don't think it will. No, it doesn't seem to be going to get in the way. Clippity clippity clip. Everything clips in place. Battery screw and the two big screws hold the ball to the plastic. So that spring, yeah, just pops in that little slot. Oh, I just realised I haven't refocused. Apologies for that. Let's just bring it about down here again, about there. And let's get rid of this camera up there. So battery spring, nice connection on there. The other one over here, wasn't it? There we are. Now we have to refit the tuning dial and the so they got to put the LED back up here. That just goes onto that bit of plastic like that, doesn't it? With a little screw. That's a threaded one, so that's the one that goes on the tuning capacitor, not this one. And then this, yeah, there's no, I think it's a fairly standard one because it's got like clips for springs and dial cords and everything, but unnecessary on this one. It just sits on there and turns that round one way or the other. Yep, and pop that back onto there. And then the yes, so we can see there's a greasy bit on there. That goes on there, around the two little pulleys, around the gear at the bottom. I think it might be easier to put it over the pulley than the gear. In fact, if we take that pulley off of there and put that onto there. off that pulley over this side, that's why. It's just tight enough to fit, so if this ever breaks, that would be difficult to replace. Oops, I've twisted the plastic chain, as it were, or drive belt, whatever you want to call it. Let's put it on there again. Maybe we should put it around that one. Yeah, we can turn it. So let's get that right at one end. Does that go all the way to the other end? Yeah. Not quite there, is it? I think if we hold the dial window on top of it, yeah, it's not quite at the end, is it? It needs to be a bit further along. So let's lift that. Onto there. Right, that's right at one end. That's right at the other end. Let's put that back on again. No, we've gone too far the other way. So we need to be about there, I would think. So that's at 0 at this end on this log scale that they've got on there. And 10 up there, so it still needs to go one more position along here, doesn't it? Let's try that. Yeah, so that's 0 there, 10 there. Yep. Okay, and then this, if I remember, that clipped underneath. So we've got to lift this just tentatively. Let's get that in the middle. That'd be easier to get over. And that clips under there, I think, and then that clips on there. Yeah, there we are. Yeah, that's not even hitting up this end of the plastic. So that seems to be okie dokie. Now, this whole lot could do with a bit of a clean, but I'll leave that to the customer. Speaker goes through that hole. Drops on there. Speaker is soldered on. One blob. Two blobs. Even a bit of plastic there to hold. Or is it that way round? Let's just. I didn't really take a lot of notice of where the speaker cable was routed. I should have done, I suppose. I don't think it's going to hit anything. It's just perhaps not fit properly on the back. It seems to be like a little clip for it to go in there. Yeah, that will do. And then the FM antenna. That solders onto there. And the back goes on. Let's get the batteries back. Pop some batteries in. Oh, I haven't yet put the on-off switch back in. I've got to put that on before I put it all back together. Let's just take that. Can I get that in there? Yeah. I'm doing this, we're trying to hold the batteries in the battery compartment at the same time. So on FM. Medium wave. Yeah, and the tuning indicator works as well. Look. And then long wave. There's the long wave, yeah. And FM. During the time of, and that held. Seems like on FM the tuning dial's active all the time. Well, the point is, it's working. There's no mention from the client about the tuning dial. Perhaps that's normal. Perhaps it stays on all the time on FM. So I'm not gonna worry about that. Customer never mentioned that the LED was on all the time. It may be that there's so much interference here. That's why. If I take it out of the workshop, it will hopefully be better. So there we are. We seem to have a fairly quick repair on this Sony ICF radio. I'm quite pleased with that. Hope you are as well. Nice quick little video. Thanks very much for watching. See you on the next one.